Welcome to the Florida Citrus Sports Scouting Report presented by Florida Hospital. I'm Erin Campbell. After 6 weeks of the college football season, the bowl landscape is starting to take shape. However, with some surprising outcomes from last weekend's play, our team selection committee has much to talk about. We had 34 scouts on the road at 17 games around the country this past weekend. Today we'll be talking to Selection Committee Chairman Chuck Beverly and CEO Steve Hogan about what went down in our 4 partner conferences. I'm with Chuck Beverly, Chairman of Florida Citrus Sports. What does the Alabama loss to South Carolina do to our Capital One Bowl picture?
Well, Erin, it muddies up the waters in the Southeastern Conference because Alabama was the obvious favorite early in the season. But now you got 5 teams who are within 1 loss that any of them could win it. You got the undefeated Tigers and Auburn and LSU, and you've now got the 1 loss, Alabama, South Carolina, who just had the big win against the Tide, and then Arkansas, which is a little bit of a surprise. So I think any of those 5 teams could win the conference and end up in our bowl.
The SEC East power switched this weekend with the South Carolina upset over Alabama. But South Carolina does have to travel to Gainesville to play Florida during the critical part of the season. What are we looking at from those 2 teams for our Capital One Bowl picture?
Well, I think, in my opinion, the odds-on favorite to win that division or at least be represented in the conference championship is going to be South Carolina. I think their defense played so well against Alabama, stopping the run, and their quarterback at South Carolina seems like he's really come of age. He played a brilliant game. I think they have to be the favorites. Florida, I would think, might be a great candidate to be here.
Michigan State moves up 5 spots in the coaches poll after defeating Michigan in Ann Arbor. Ohio State and Michigan State are both undefeated, but they don't play each other during the regular season. How does this affect the Big Ten's BCS considerations?
Well, it clearly, it means that either one of those 2 teams are the odds-on favorites, I think, to win the Big Ten and go BCS. And the other team is looking pretty good to go BCS. I think our best opportunity might be for our Capital One Bowl game, might be either Iowa or Wisconsin. I like both of them. They only have 1 loss, and both of them play very good defense.
Florida State's win over Miami this weekend positioned them to be one of the top teams in the ACC. Who would be the team to challenge the Seminoles from the Atlantic Division?
Well, there's 2 teams that have 1 loss. They're right behind them. That's Maryland and NC State. I really, really like NC State. That team has really come together well. I think they're playing extremely well right now. I think their schedule is a little more favorable than potentially Maryland. I like NC State a lot.
The ACC Coastal is more wide open. What teams do you think can challenge for an ACC championship?
Well, Erin, there's 4 teams now that have 2 losses there, and they're all very good. Virginia Tech, the perennial power, you think they've got to be the odds-on favorite. But the other Tech, Georgia Tech, has played very well this year and has the same record, doing well. I really like North Carolina. They had some issues with the suspensions early in the season, but they seem like they really rallied around those suspensions, and the team has come together and they played well of late.
I'm here with Steve Hogan, CEO of Florida Citrus Sports. The Big East opened conference play this past weekend, and 4 more teams will have their first conference game this week. So far, besides West Virginia, who could compete for a championship?
Well, thankfully, I think for the Big East teams, all of them, because they're just getting it. Only 4 of the 8 teams have played a conference game so far, 2 of them with a victory. Nice victory for Syracuse over South Florida last weekend, and Rutgers got one over UConn. Other than that, everybody's still in the mix. They all still got to play conference schedules, so everybody's there, and I think they're all going to contend. West Virginia hasn't played a conference game yet they're ranked. So this is really going to be a fun stretch the next few weeks, and very, very interesting for the Big East. But it's exciting to see Syracuse and some of these teams start to get back over the hump again and have some success. So I'm very happy for them.
Last week you talked about the showdown between Michigan and Michigan State, which Michigan State won handily. What other upcoming games in the Big Ten would have that kind of impact on the bowl picture?
Obviously, at this stage of the season, all these games are important. 2 big ones, though, when Wisconsin and Ohio State get together, and Iowa and Michigan, huge in those 2 teams' season. They both have 1 loss. Wisconsin has 1 loss. Michigan State and Ohio State undefeated. So this is that time of the year as you get into the meat of the Big Ten schedule where every one of these count, and they count huge.
That's it for this week's Scouting Report. Steve mentioned the big Ohio State-Wisconsin game this weekend, and that showdown serves as our Capital One Bowl game of the week. Our Champ Sports Bowl game of the week will be Pittsburgh taking on a surprising 4-1 Syracuse team in New York. Visit FCSports.com for breakdowns of these important games. For Chuck Beverly and Steve Hogan, I'm Erin Campbell. See you next week on the FC Sports Scouting Report presented by Florida Hospital.